Third down and 20.
Steed, why don't you take us through your mock draft real quick? Yeah, and just kind of don't say every pick, but just kind of go over some of the highlights in your opinion.
Okay, well, I think I could skip the first two now that the Jets also traded away Sam Darnold. They're obviously taking a quarterback at two. 49ers, I think, is the first big pick to talk about because, like we said last week, when they traded up to three, obviously they're trying to get a quarterback here, and the argument is it going to be Justin Fields, Mac Jones, or Trey Lance? We're Mac Jones truthers. I at least think he fits that offense perfectly. He can start day one. They can get rid of Jimmy G, and I still like Mac Jones at three. Falcons just take best available. Bengals, I think Penei Sewell, even looking at more tape on him, he's the best player available at this point to me still. And, to shore up that O-line for the Bengals, I know they just picked up a couple pieces. People like Sewell only come around so often. He's 6'6", and he's huge. Just give me him. Dolphins, now this is a question because Dolphins traded back to 6 to target one of the three guys. Now they get to choose two of them. This is my personal preference. I'm more of a Jamar Chase guy than I am Devontae. I think Devontae's a great player. I think they're 1A and 1B. But I like them taking Jamar here. And then that leads me to the Lions taking Devontae Smith. You just lost Galladay. You lost Marvin Jones. You got Jared Goff. You're Detroit. First of all, you have no weapons. Jared Goff needs weapons to succeed. Just take Devontae Smith, a very talented receiver, get something going. Now, the Panthers, this is where it gets interesting. Now, we originally had the Panthers taking a quarterback, but now with Sam Darnold, I think they can kind of just look BPA, maybe keep on that defensive trend. I was thinking about going corner here, but I'm still huge on Michael Parsons. I know all the rumors coming out, but I haven't seen much more about that. I think he's a great pick here. He's a tremendous athlete. Just pick up the best player available in this spot for the Panthers and move on. Now, this is where it gets a little spicy. Listen, I'm not a big Drew Lock fan. Never really have been. I love his arm. He's been shoddy a little bit in the NFL. He's had some really good games and he's had some really bad games. And if I'm the Broncos sitting here at 9, and I got Justin Fields on the board, Justin Fields doesn't have to play day one. I can start Drew Lock. But I'm the Broncos who haven't had a quarterback since Peyton Manning. I'm looking to get my franchise guy, and I think I can see that out of Justin Fields. I'm going to take value here. I'm going to pick Justin Fields, who I still have as a top 10 player, and I'm just going to grab him here at 9 and hope, use Drew Lock as a bridge for him and then move on with Justin Fields. Cowboys, I got them taking a corner. Originally, I had them taking Surtain, but mine's changed. I always favored J.C. Horn, but after his pro day and after looking more into him, the dude's an absolute stud. Okay, I think he's the best corner in this class. You're not going to miss with him. So I like J.C. here at 10 for the Cowboys, and you go on with that young secondary with Trayvon Diggs and J.C. Horn, and you just picked up Keanu. You're working on something there in the secondary that just got totally thrashed last season. Giants, Giants here. I was thinking about taking O-line, or taking Waddle here, but I think the Giants are in a position where also you could just really shore up that D line because your defense played really well towards the mid to late season last year, and I'm big on Jalen Phillips. Him and Kwity Paye are both of my favorite rushers. I think Jalen Phillips is a very sure thing, and I like where he's climbing at on a lot of people's boards. So I'm taking Jalen Phillips here at 11. Get that done. Eagles here, we talked about it. The Eagles could literally get anything. I'm just taking a corner. Give me Surtain. Help up that. Chargers, no shocker there. Need to protect Herbert. Take Slater. Vikings, like I said, same thing. They need defense. Take the really good pass rusher. Take Kwity Paye. Here we go with the Patriots. Trey Lance is 6 on my rankings, but still, I can't put Kellen Mond in the first round still for me for some weird reason. But I'm going to take Trey Lance here. He doesn't have to play automatically, and they're in a position where Patriots get a lot of people back. They spend a lot of money this offseason. They get Cam back, and if they're kind of like that mid-road team or not really competing or out of the playoffs, then you can put Trey Lance in. But I think Cam Newton's a good bridge quarterback, good vet. Talk to Trey Lance, get him used to the league. And if anybody can get a quarterback as, who's not as sustained or, as polished as these other quarterback prospects, it would be Belichick and McDaniel. So I like Trey Lance landing with the Patriots there.
Yeah, real quick, to cut you off here. I agree with what you said there with Cam Newton being the perfect bridge quarterback, especially for someone like Trey Lance. I really like this fit a whole lot. One thing, because you didn't do trades in this one.
Yeah, no trades.
I feel like the Patriots are not going to be picking at 15. I just have that feeling.
I do see them moving. A good spot for them might be at 4, or even with the Panthers or something like that. I could see that.
I just wouldn't be surprised if they, try to trade down and then trade back up and then just start moving all over the draft to kind of get the guys and the picks that they want, especially because they don't have a third this year. So it seems like they're in a spot, they added a ton of talent in free agency. So they tried to solve a whole lot of their major needs there. Whether they're moving up, down, sideways, who knows? But I really don't feel like they're going to be sticking with this one. Now, give us the highlights for the last ones.
Last one's Raiders. I like this pick for the Raiders here. I mean, they need help on defense. They made a couple moves in the offseason. I know they lost 60% of their offensive line, but Owusu Koromoa is just too much of a beast at linebacker to pass up here at 17. So I feel like you got to take him.
Yeah, he's the type of player that the Raiders like. They take big school, high character, work ethic kind of guys. I actually wouldn't be surprised if he went earlier, Owusu Koromoa, but I don't really know. Linebackers, it's always weird because we both really liked Patrick Queen last year, and Patrick Queen ended up going in the mid-20s to the Ravens, and we both thought that he was a guy that wouldn't be past pick 20.
Yeah, I mean, linebackers are always tough to judge, so here at 17 would be a steal for him. Another, just a highlight pick is the Bears. They lost Fuller. Seeing more of Greg Newsome. Listen, he's number 3 in corner. He's kind of like competing for me to be 2 with Surtain. I really like Greg Newsome's game. He's physical. He's athletic. I think he has a lot to offer with the Bears, especially that defensive scheme. I like that pick for him to replace Fuller.
I like that a lot too, with the fit of replacing Fuller. Get a hard-nosed, good coverage guy. Him and Jalen Johnson would be really nice.
Yeah, that would
in
be
the
scary.
Secondary. Like a nice, cheap, super talented secondary. Eddie Jackson too. Like, damn, that would be a nice little fit if they don't like the quarterbacks on the board.
Yeah, another kind of a shocker pick, I think, would be like the Jags doubling down and taking a receiver here. Maybe a little Rondale Moore. I was between him and Katavius, or Tony. And, Frank, we talked about it before. We just kind of like his game, his all-around game more. I feel like, especially if you get Urban Meyer's going to be there, and I think Rondale Moore kind of like just seeing what Urban's done at the college level and his scheme, if he brings any of that over, Rondale Moore kind of fits that personnel very well. Browns.
Also, Rondale Moore tearing up Ohio State as an 18-year-old might be a little bit of a nudge to Urban Meyer being like, okay, I saw this guy destroy the team that I was coaching beforehand. Maybe, because, I mean, I can see why Jags fans wouldn't want Rondale Moore or just not even want a receiver because they have a lot of receivers. They picked up Laviska Shenault last year, but I can see it because I think that Rondale Moore is talented enough to where you don't really worry about position. I think the Jaguars in general should just handle this as BPA because you're taking Trevor Lawrence, and then every pick after that, I don't think you pigeonhole yourself into drafting a specific position. If you think Rondale Moore is the best player on the board and will make an impact, you just take him.
Yeah. Browns. I think this is a good, interesting pick because Jason Oweh might not be as fundamental as some of these other pass rushers, but I mean, he's just such a freak athlete. I mean, this is a huge dude running at 4.4, and I just, you get someone with that kind of athletic ability and pair him on the other side of Myles Garrett. I mean, it could be they could torment the quarterbacks. They could torment every offense they see. So it might be a little bit of a more of not a reach, but kind of a gamble at 26 taking him because he's a first round talent. I still believe that, but just is he going to be as polished? Is he going to have his up and downs? Yes, but what he could be. And to snag him here at 26, I think that's a great steal for the Browns.
Has Clowney signed with the Browns? I know that they were kind of like flirting with each other. Has that officially happened?
I haven't heard anything about Clowney. Like he'd probably do the same thing he did last year. Wait till like the day of. But
yeah,
I haven't. Options. Yeah, but you can also have not enough line. Just roll them in and out. Another little highlight, Packers, I think you get a steal here. Late a guy that was targeted as a top 10 player in this draft and has been falling off the board because of his back problems and resurgence of some of these other corners. Kevin King sucked for the Packers. He did. He was terrible. And you got a star in Jair Alexander and a guy with a great athletic ability. And if his back thing turns out not to be a problem, Caleb Farley here at 29. That's an easy steal for me. Another pick, I feel like these are all kind of just whatever. Like Christian Barmore, just get a solid player for the Bills to help, stop the run game and then get a little bit of pass rush. You need to build up that D-line. I feel like the defense was kind of letting down the Bills a little bit last year, especially.
Definitely.
You saw that in the AFC Championship. So just, you're going to get what you get out of Barmore. You're not going to get like a superstar, but you're going to get an above average player who's ready to play day one. He's from an SEC school. He's from Alabama. He's from Nick Saban. I like this fit for the Bills.
I completely agree with that. Like, I think the Bills, one thing that I got from the Bills this offseason is that because they signed Sanders, they brought Isaiah McKenzie back, it really feels like they're looking to forego an early round pick on a receiver, which we kind of both felt like they could use but not necessarily needed. And I think that they're trying to just open the door so that they can take D-line, because their D-line, especially in the middle of last year, was a huge problem for this team.
Yeah.
And they also need a corner. So where they go in the first and the second, I think, does depend on the board. But if Barmore falls all the way to pick 30, I would love this for the Bills. Just get that centerpiece of their D-line. And then you can take a corner because there'll still be some good corners in round 2.
Yeah, because I also played with them getting a corner. I like Aaron Robinson, who you see I got the Bucs taking because I think the Bucs are at a point. You just won the Super Bowl. You got a majority of your team returning. Pretty much your whole team returning, especially on that defense. And you can kind of just take whatever you want. Aaron Robinson, I think, is a very talented player. He's got a good build. He was a beast at UCF. And, just pick up another corner there. But I played with him going the Bills. Also played with the Bills taking Basham. But the thing about Basham is I like Barmore just more, And
yeah, I would too. I think that Barmore, in terms of a guy that's going to make a year one impact, especially what the Bills struggled in, I think Barmore would be a perfect fit. I'm just not sure he lasts this far. I really don't know with Barmore. It seems like there are some guys that really love him and other guys that think he's a second-round player.
Well, the thing is, I think the D-line is, especially in this first round, is pretty deep because you go Jalen Phillips, Gregory Rousseau, Kwity Paye, Jason Away, Joseph Asai. He's in the mix with those guys. I just think teams might value those guys more just based off more of a talent possibly.
Really quickly. I think the Colts getting Cosme would be really nice for this football team. Where do you have... All right, so you have Darisaw going to the football team a few picks before. I think that Cosme is a guy that I would not be surprised if he goes in the top 20, just because these tackles are all so good. It also seems like we don't really... I think a lot more people think that the order of these tackles is more locked than it actually is. I wouldn't be surprised to see some surprise names off the board, maybe like a Tevin Jenkins or...
Yeah.
There's so many. Elijah Vera Tucker, there are some people that have him as like an early second round compared to possibly a top 10 kind of guy.
Yeah, you could see a guy like Alex Leatherwood go easily in the first round somewhere. It's just you're right. The tackle class is just it's very hard because they're all very good. It's a very deep tackle class, and thing is, some of these guys are going to fall in the second round who are first round picks, and it's really hard to navigate who goes where. But yeah, I do like the Cosme pick for the Colts. Are they able to get him with the retirement of Costanzo? So, and you got to protect Wentz. And we saw last year, if you didn't protect Wentz, it's turnover city. So, I mean, that's with every quarterback. But, I mean, that's pretty much my mock draft.